Daniel Jeremiah has brought me great concern. Now, DJ is routinely one of the better mock drafters that's out there because of his connects around the league. And a lot of times, early in the process, his picks are nowhere near what they end up being. In terms of, by the final one, he's a little bit closer. My personal theory is that he's protecting a little bit. He's protecting some folks. Like, all right, I'm not going to tip who you like this early because he's got so many friends around the league. So I'm hoping that's the case here with the Dallas Cowboys in this latest mock draft, which leading up to their pick is about as disastrous a path as could have happened for the draft to play out in April based on this mock draft from Daniel Jeremiah. So this is what he's got. Number 1 pick, Fernando Mendoza to the Raiders. Okay, totally expected. 2, Jets take Arvell Reese, edge rusher, linebacker from Ohio State. Cool, totally expected. 3, Cardinals take Spencer Fano, the offensive tackle from Utah. Okay. 4, Francis Mauigoa, offensive tackle, Miami to the Titans. This is where it gets odd. 5, the Giants take LSU corner Mansour Delane, who we've talked about as definitely being there at 12, maybe being there at 20, and one of the better corners available in this draft. 5 would be pretty early for that. 6, the Browns take David Bailey, the Texas Tech edge rusher. Okay, that's somebody you like, thrown off the board. 7, who has been the most commonly mocked player to the Dallas Cowboys so far?
Sonny Styles.
Sonny Styles. Linebacker, Ohio State, goes to the Washington Commanders at 7 in this mock draft. Number 8, Jeremiah Love, Notre Dame running back, to the Saints. Number 9, Reuben Bain, Miami edge rusher, goes to the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, that's fine. We still got Jermod McCoy out there. We got Caleb Downs out there. Number 10, the Cincinnati Bengals take Jermod McCoy, Tennessee cornerback who has not played in over a year. But
go Vols.
Those are the 2 top corners in the draft, Mansour Delane and Jermod McCoy. Maybe the only ones that go in the first round. We'll see. Maybe Brandon Cisse or some of these other guys end up going there. Pick 11, the Miami Dolphins take Caleb Downs, safety, Ohio State. So all of your targets have basically gone off the board here. It's like, okay, well, what direction do you want to go? Do you want to go with the edge rusher like, Mesidor that we've talked about recently? Do you want to say, okay, let's just go ahead and take C.J. Allen, the linebacker from Georgia? No. In a draft where it feels like there's only 2 guarantees at corner to go in the first round. Maybe Avion Terrell, but that would be later in the first. The Dallas Cowboys select choppy Colton Hood.
Oh, baby, go Vols.
Cornerback, Tennessee. He says, I expect to see Dallas draft an edge rusher in round 1. He said, see pick number 20 in this mock, but I'd like to see the Cowboys upgrade the secondary too. Hood would be a plug-and-play starter for them. Colton Hood is fine. I don't know that I would feel good about Colton Hood being the 12th pick in the draft.
Colton Hood might be shorter than Diego Pavia.
Man,
Diego Pavia, tiny little guy.
He got exposed yesterday with the measurements that came out. Everyone lies about it, right? The schools lie for them. Pros lie. But I think Vanderbilt had him 3 inches higher than he actually was. I think he came in at like 5'9".
5'9", boy math. Getting that extra 3 inches there. It's Colton can play, but he's small. I mean, he is really, really short. And that's, look, every defensive coach has their ideal prototype that they're looking for. But I mean, the guy can play the position. Stop,
Bobby.
That's Diego Pavia playing, man.
The guy can play the position, though. But it just goes.
I'm gonna show that to his family. I'm gonna show that to his brothers.
His family, meaning his brothers, or his family like his mafia family? Which one do you mean?
It's like you're punching a little person.
Same. That's why you're a big fan of him. Same size hands. I get it. That's why you're a big fan of Diego Pavia. Slide down the list. So you've already lost out on the top 2 corners. So you end up with Colton Hood, who's a fine player. But, yeah, that's a little guy, and that's not somebody who's been talked about as a top 12 player at all. Slide down the list. You get down to number 20. They do take an edge rusher. The problem for a lot of people, I like this player. This is a concern for a lot of folks, though. Kendrick Faulk, the Auburn edge rusher. He writes, Faulk is a tough evaluation. He has great size and is a smooth athlete, but I'd like to see him play with a little more urgency. The upside is tremendous. Kendrick Faulk is a really impressive physical specimen. Like, when you look at him, you're like, holy cow, that guy looks like he was built in a lab. It's a little bit like Michael Williams last year for Georgia. The problem was when you go and look at his production. In 12 games for Auburn last year, he had 2 sacks. and 5 tackles for loss. That was his output as a junior, making a name for himself. Now, he's asked to do a lot of different things. He's asked to two-gap at times. He's asked to do things where he's not just pinning his ears back and rushing, but it's a projection. You're definitely projecting out a little bit with Kendrick, Faulk, and saying, all right, this guy's going to be ready to go. He'll be good. No issues his way. That just sounds like two big-time raw projections that you're hoping will hit for a team that wants to win right now and would be pretty frustrating, I think, if you're the Cowboys. If I told you the Cowboys are getting raw players that you're just boomer busting on, aren't you thinking that's not a wise use of their resources?
Look, this whole win now thing, I chuckle a little bit, because you and Nick Eatman, you've been brainwashed to, this next year is a window, is a title window.
Competitive now, then, not win now, just competitive.
Give me the best player. Give me the best player. If it takes them 2 years, fine. They're probably not winning the championship next year. So I'm not factoring that into my draft board of we need to finish a piece. That's delusional. That's being Cowboy brainwashed. So
no, not a finishing piece, but somebody who can contribute immediately.
Flournoy. That's what you should be looking for every year. You should be looking for somebody who can contribute immediately every year. Obviously at positions that you need, positions of value. But I mean, I don't know. Can you see this team winning a Super Bowl in 2 years? I can't.
Sure, just because I couldn't see New England being in the Super Bowl right now. I couldn't see Seattle being in the Super Bowl right now, and then they were.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I
you
can
get a defensive
see
turnaround. I mean, if you get some type of defensive turnaround, did you do a study on the defensive jumps? I think RJ did, but you could be 17th in the league but create a lot of turnovers.
We did not see when the Cowboys were picking 11th or 12th or whatever it was after the trade downs a couple years ago. Nobody saw in 2021 that was going to be a 12-5 team that people were talking about as, oh, you're competing right now in a serious sort of way. Yeah. But Diggs took a jump, and Parsons was a revelation as a rookie.
Yeah.
That would be the question, is could you find somebody at 12 who could be an immediate impact player that you're not necessarily projecting out, and then you've got somebody who takes a jump, like a Savone Revel, or are you getting a bigger contribution from Ezeraku? If you get those sort of hits, all of a sudden it's a different math equation when you're talking about what the offense has been.
Yeah.
And so I think it's at least worth
I'm not drafting for Dak. At the end of the day, in 10 years, tell me who you think is going to be the best player. That's my prerequisite. Not who's going to be the first not who's going to be the best in the first 2. At the end of 10, who's the best?
Yeah, and I think that when you're asking that, though, about somebody like Kendrick, Faulk, for instance, from Auburn, that's a complete projection. You're not sure that he's ever, you don't know with any certainty that he'll be anything, because of just the type of player that he is and the type of projection that he is. One projection that did hit for the Cowboys in recent years, I was looking at this over at NFL.com as we do Below the Belt. Ross Tucker coming up here shortly at 9 o'clock. NFL.com was doing Unsung Heroes of the 2025 NFL season, and they were looking for one overlooked unsung contributor from every team. And I was like, who the hell are you going to pick for the Cowboys? Because that was pretty much the guys who were good. You would think they were going to be good, and the guys who you also thought were going to be good, a lot of them sucked last year. So when you look at the Cowboys, who would you say that NFL.com zeroed in on as that's going to be your number one unsung hero for the Cowboys last year?
Javonte or Flournoy.
Javonte is a great answer. That's what it should have been. It was not Javonte. Chop.
They would have zeroed in on Kenneth Murray.
No, that would have been awful. Ryan Flournoy, who maybe we get a chance to talk to at Super Bowl. Who knows if G-Bag doesn't hop all over the guest list. But they say that the Cowboys found a legit third receiver in his second season. Flournoy generated 475 yards on 40 catches with 4 touchdowns as a beneficiary of the defensive attention paid to CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. Flournoy thrived, generating .09 EPA per route, 11th best among all receivers in the NFL with at least 200 routes run, which is very, very impressive. I will say it's not totally accurate to say he thrived from the attention Lamb and Pickens were getting, because a lot of times he stepped up and played when Lamb was out or when Pickens wasn't contributing at a high level. And so I don't know if that's a totally dead-on representation of it. But Ryan Flournoy, I think, genuinely has solidified as a third receiver and somebody that they can bank on being the third guy next year.